In case you're feeling a little bit unsure about how class is going to be working on Thursday, go ahead and watch this video. What you need to know is that class on Thursday will not just be presentations. Class on Thursday will also include important information that you'll need to know to write your paper. So, what that means is that our time is going to be best used if you can prepare for class by learning what you can about formatting. So that means complete formatting rules per section. That's one of the handouts that was distributed in class on Tuesday. And you're going to be using the APA sample paper from Purdue OWL for Help because that's where all of the guidelines are about how to do the specific formatting. And then, so you're going to use that and come into class knowing that and checking your answers so that way we don't have to spend a bunch of time on kind of discovering it all together. And then another thing I recommend doing is reviewing chapters 5, 7, 8, and 9 from Engaging Questions. And the reason I'm suggesting looking over this is you can think about the questions you can ask in class, and that guides the discussion for your preferred topics. And we're not going over things that you might already know or you're not interested in hearing again or that you feel you can learn on your own. I'll try and pick the most relevant ones, but I can't guarantee that I'll pick the ones that you specifically have questions about. So that way, if you come with the questions that you know you have that you really want to ask, that's even better. Also, I will not be able to offer the coverage for every single thing that you'll need to know to do well in your paper 3. So just there's simply not enough time. There'll be some important details in the text, so that way if you come with having that preview, you'll learn a little bit more about the details that I really want to focus on. So like I said, do those two things so that you can come prepared to class. And there's some students who present on Tuesday, and it's true that you might not be coming to class. I've mentioned that I'm not taking attendance. That means that if you don't come to class, there's no effect on your grade. However, you're still responsible for the information from class. So that means the information will be available through handouts, videos, and slides. So that means that you can still get the information without having to come to class, but it's your responsibility to go to those materials and learn from those materials. So one thing that's important is to think about your learning preferences and how you feel like you learn best. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. So that's just kind of the tying up today, Tuesday, April 30th, and going into Thursday, May 2nd. So one thing I want to say is that the people that are definitely coming because they have to give a presentation, I want to say that if all the presenters are in class at 12:30, then great, we'll do the presentations first. However, if there's still some people missing or straggling that you know are going to not be coming, then we'll have to do the lecture first just because we only have an hour and 15 minutes and I just want to make sure I get through everything because we have to be finished with the information about paper 3 this week and dedicate next week to going over the final and getting ready for the final. That's what next week is for. This week is for finishing up paper 3, the presentations, as well as uh, learning the final bits about writing it, the paper 3. So just keep that in mind that and one reason I'm setting this out and saying that, be there at 12:30 when class starts is because if the presentations are first, you can leave after the presentations. There'll be no effect on your attendance grade, no judgment. I totally no problem if you want to leave. But ask yourself, how do you learn best, or what are your learning preferences? And this is also kind of for the people that may be thinking they're going to sit out of class. It's no problem if you don't want to come to class. I'm just asking you to think about this. And if you think you might learn best from doing an in-person activity and discovering the rules along the way with a teacher to kind of guide you and point you in the right direction and go over the answers as you're kind of figuring it out and learning from resources, it might be best to stay because that's how the class is going to be structured. It's going to be given some kind of guided notes and you'll be filling it out and kind of learning from it because you'll have to apply those rules, apply those lessons to your own writing. So that means that if you feel like you learn best that way, it might be better to stay. If you think you learn best from videos, if that is a better way for you, you think to learn, feel free to leave. Even if it's not the best, just, make that decision. One thing that to keep in mind though is that if you have questions about the materials covered on May 2nd, just realize that my response is going to be check the videos, check the slides, check those resources, because there was that opportunity to have that one-on-one conversation about it, learn about that person to person. And so if you're excusing yourself from that, just be prepared to use the resources as they're available. If you check the resources and you think, I still don't understand it, then go ahead and reach out to me. And just make sure that when you're reaching out, you're saying something like, hey, in the resource or like in the slides, it says this. Does that mean, that I should be doing this? So just keep that in mind, that if you're asking a question that's answered in the resources, that's where I'll be directing you. All right, so that's what to keep in mind for Thursday. Looking forward to seeing you then.